You know, when the world shut down back in 2020, it did a lot more than just send us all home to work. It basically stress tested every single part of a business, and one system in particular just shattered. I'm talking about performance reviews. The crisis exposed this deep, fundamental flaw in how most companies think about performance. But what if that same crisis also handed us the blueprint for a better way? In this explainer, we're going to break down how a true performance management system can help your team not just survive the next crisis, but actually thrive long after it's over.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll get a handle on the sheer scale of the crisis that broke the old models. Then, we're going to draw a really crucial line between old school appraisals and true performance management. After that, we'll see what a real system can do, walk through 5 powerful ways you can adapt, and finally, see how it all comes together to build a stronger, more crisis-proof team for the future.
To really understand the solution here, we first have to appreciate the problem. The pandemic wasn't just a slowdown. It was a sudden, system-wide shock that triggered a talent management catastrophe on a scale we had just never seen before.
I mean, the economic hit was just staggering. In the second quarter of 2020 alone, the U.S. economy shrank by a jaw-dropping 35% compared to the year before. This wasn't a dip, you guys, this was a free fall, and it sent shockwaves through absolutely every industry. And that economic shock, it translated directly into job losses. In one single month, April 2020, the U.S. leisure and hospitality sector lost 7.7 million jobs. That's almost half of all the jobs in that industry gone, almost overnight. And for the people who managed to keep their jobs, the pressure was just immense. I mean, think about it. Juggling remote work, heavier workloads, all that personal stress. A massive 45% of U.S. employees said they were completely burned out. The old ways of working just were not built for this. So, faced with this total chaos, leaders like Mike Falahy here started asking a pretty reasonable question. With jobs changing on the fly, goals shifting, and employees just trying to keep their heads above water, how could you possibly conduct a fair performance review? And the answer from a lot of companies was to just stop. They just canceled the whole process. And this right here, this is the heart of the issue. The fact that so many companies felt they could just toss their performance systems out the window without a second thought, well, that reveals a huge misunderstanding about what performance management is even for.
You see, the reason it was so easy to just hit pause is that most companies weren't really doing performance management in the first place. They were just doing performance appraisals, and believe me, the difference between those two is everything.
Let's be super clear on the definition. Real performance management isn't some event that happens once a year. It's a continuous, ongoing process. It's about developing your people and, this is key, connecting what they do every day to the big picture goals of the entire organization. It's a conversation, not a report card. And when you see them side by side, the contrast is just stark. An appraisal is this backward-looking yearly chore that HR owns. But true performance management, that's an ongoing, forward-looking strategic tool that everyone owns. It's the difference between, say, bureaucracy and a dynamic engine for growth. And here's the kicker, the proof that the old model was already broken. Long before the pandemic, a mind-boggling 95% of managers were already unhappy with their company's appraisal process. They saw it as a burden that didn't even give them accurate info. So, when the crisis hit, it wasn't some valuable system getting paused. It was a broken process that was just easy to throw away. Okay, so if we're tossing out that old, dusty idea of a once-a-year appraisal, what does a real performance management system actually do? What's its true power, especially when things get tough?
A really solid system does a bunch of critical things. Yeah, sure, it helps with administrative stuff like pay and promotions, but it's also a strategic tool to communicate what's important. It's a developmental tool to help people grow. It helps with workforce planning, and it gives you crucial documentation to make sure things are fair. It's kind of like the Swiss Army knife of talent management.
And this is exactly why it becomes your secret weapon during a crisis. A good system encourages people to go that extra mile. It boosts engagement when morale is in the tank. It protects the company during tough decisions. It helps the whole organization learn on the fly. And maybe most importantly, it clarifies what actually matters when everything feels uncertain.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually do it? Let's get practical and look at an evidence-based action plan that any leader can use.
So here's the action plan. 5 big shifts to make your performance management system fit for a world that's always changing. We're going to move from just tracking what people do to measuring results. We'll focus on adaptability, get proactive with stay interviews, get feedback from more places, and radically simplify how we measure team success. Let's dig in.
Let's just zoom in on number 2 for a second, measuring adaptive performance. In a world where job descriptions are basically written in pencil, we have to start measuring something new. It's not about how well you do a task you've done 1,000 times. It's about how you handle an emergency, how you solve a problem when there's no playbook, how fast you can learn new skills. This, right here, is the new currency of the workplace. Now, recommendation number 3 is a total game changer. Instead of waiting for your best people to quit and then doing an exit interview, you need to be doing stay interviews. Sit down with your top performers and ask them powerful questions like this one. Find out what keeps them there, what's exciting them, and what you can do to support them. And the 5th idea here is all about simplicity. The Performance Promoter Score, or PPS, it basically borrows a brilliant concept for marketing. It boils all this complex feedback down to one simple, powerful question. You can use it for individuals or for whole teams to get a quick, clear signal on how well people are collaborating. It's simple, it's elegant, and it's actionable.
So as you can see, each of these recommendations gives you a really practical starting point, from setting flexible goals to asking the right questions. This isn't just theory, you guys, it's a whole new way of operating. Now, it would be a huge mistake to look at these ideas as just temporary fixes for a crisis. They really represent a permanent, fundamental shift in how we should be thinking about performance for good.
So here's the ultimate takeaway. Building a robust, continuous, and adaptive performance management system isn't a cost. It's an investment. It's an investment in the long-term resilience, the agility, and the success of your organization. It's what separates the companies that just survive disruption from the ones that are actually made stronger by it. And that leaves us with one final, really important question to think about. Consider your own team, your own company. Are you still stuck in that old world of the once-a-year, backward-looking appraisal? Or are you building a true system of performance management that can actually carry you into the future? The answer could make all the difference.